Peter Piper.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Hi,
Hello.
and welcome to another episode of
Manic Pixie Dream Women.
We're your hosts, Mariah,
And Layla.
and this is the podcast where we talk about all things post-grad, entering into the industry, and our favorite films that have inspired us along the way.
And now the films we both have never seen before.
I know. I still need to update the intro.
Or we just, throw in a little
Ooh.
addendum.
Today we will be talking about the 1999 Sofia Coppola's directorial debut,
Ooh.
The Virgin Suicides,
Yeah.
starring Kirsten Dunst.
Ooh. And a lot of other people.
And a lot of other people.
Did you recognize any of the other people?
I recognize the guy, Jonathan Tucker.
Yes. Jonathan
Yes.
Tucker.
Jonathan Tucker. That's it.
I recognized Cecilia, played by the same girl who played the little girl
yes.
in Forrest Gump.
Yes. I had
Young
to
Jenny.
look that up. I was like, why does she look so familiar to me?
Yeah. She really looked so similar from Forrest Gump to me. And it'd been a couple years. Josh Hartnett.
Who's that?
The main boy, Trip Fontaine.
Okay.
He's a big actor.
Okay.
He was in Oppenheimer.
Oh.
He was the muscly scientist who worked in the lab with Oppenheimer. He's like the one in the movie you were like, this man's not from the 40s.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And there was also another one, young Hayden Christensen.
Oh.
Did you see him? He was one of the boys that took one of the girls to prom.
Oh. The more you know.
And JJ from Criminal Minds.
I've never seen Criminal Minds.
Oh, well, it's funny because like that is like the only thing I've seen that actress in. So this is before she did Criminal Minds. So it was very like, what's JJ doing here, bro?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Good for JJ.
Yeah.
Shout out JJ.
AJ Cook.
AJ Cook.
Yeah.
That name sounds familiar to me, actually.
Maybe you know her.
Anywho. Shall we just dive in?
I think we should.
Okay.
You know what's funny? When I was thinking about this episode, I kept forgetting what movie we were talking about.
Interesting. Well, how come? Just like, did it not really stick with you?
I feel like, the movie has not impacted me.
Yeah. This movie is so interesting. I already told you this, but it was like, this is the first time, I feel like since Letterboxd has become a thing, whenever I'm watching a movie, I'm always thinking of what the rating I'll give it will be.
Same.
And I feel like this was the first time where it ended, like to this day, I still feel like I have no idea what my rating of it is. Because there's so many aspects that I really loved about the movie, but there's so many that I feel like to me the story was, I don't know, but it's weird. I was gonna say the story was not my favorite thing, but then there's some aspects of it that I'm like, oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's really cool. But I just feel confused.
Mm-hmm.
I just am confused by this movie.
And so this is adapted from the book of the same name.
Yes.
And so Sofia Coppola adapted it herself.
Yeah.
And then obviously directed it. And some of the reviews were saying that this is they were saying this is the rare case when the movie has surpassed the book in both culture and excellence sort of vibe. And I have not read the book, so I do not know. I think I tried to read it, probably just at an age where it didn't make a lot of sense to me yet or something is what I'm thinking, because I don't remember finishing it.
Yeah.
I remember not being into it, which maybe it's the same vibe of it's a very particular style.
Yeah, my roommate said the same thing. She tried reading it and then just never.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There was something I was going to say. Something you said that just sparked
the book, style of the book, not finishing it.
I don't know. The interesting thing about the creation of this movie that maybe you saw was Sofia Coppola wrote a script for it, but someone already had the rights to the story and had written I don't know what, I should know the details.
Yeah.
Some entertainment company was gonna produce it with a script that they had. But then they decided they didn't like it. So then Sofia Coppola was like, "Hey,
Well,
I
I
have
read
this
that
script."
she went up to them. They didn't offer it to her. They
Yeah.
weren't
No,
like,
no,
"We want
no.
you to do a rewrite of it."
No.
Yeah.
Because she had already written it, and then she was like apparently devastated when she found out that
Yeah.
someone else already had the rights to it.
And then
And they
the
were already
rights,
going
I
to
guess,
make it.
lapsed, or they decided they were like, "We're not gonna do this one."
Yeah, they didn't like the script. So that was interesting. I mean, I can't imagine writing. That's kind of bold too. Like that is kind of giving nepo baby to just be like, I'm just gonna write a script.
Well, yeah, all you have to do is like if you know the execs, and also her dad produced it.
Yeah.
Whatever that even means, because like producing can mean so many things in Hollywood. It could literally just mean like you offered like one idea help, and so
Yeah.
and also it's sometimes just a courtesy sort of thing where like I could like if later in life I could totally just be like, Mariah, you're gonna be a producer on this, but like you're doing nothing for the film.
Yeah.
I'm sure he did something for the film, or like in what way. I'm not how involved he was. I don't know. But like, yeah, you get to just walk up to the connections you have and be like, well, look, I did a adaptation.
Yeah. It's just like so much. I mean, we both know it's so much effort to write a feature length script.
Yeah.
So to write something that's based on a book without having already like having the rights or knowing that you can like have it be
Yeah.
made, like that's only the confidence a nepo baby can have.
And that's also the thing, like, to jump into the nepo baby discussion of this. That's the thing that like literally nepo babies do not understand that like when people are saying like, oh my god, nepo baby, or like when people are annoyed by nepotism, they're always like, I don't get it. Like, why are they so annoyed with us? Like, if you like, we're all creatives in our family, or like, we all wanted to go into show business. If your dad was a doctor, it's not weird to go into the family business. It's like the family business. But I'm like, nobody's mad that you decided to become an actor. Like,
Yeah.
be an actor. We do not care. The thing that we want you basically to admit and own up to is that like you're given essentially an unfair leg up because of the people or even like, I mean, growing up being on a set, that's like such crazy knowledge that like I've never been on a professional set.
Yeah.
I don't know half the things. She grew up learning how cameras work, how directing works.
Yeah.
Like that's just like the knowledge she grew up with. Where it's like,
Yeah, for sure.
that's already just sort of an advantage that you have that I do not have.
Yeah, big time. It's interesting too because she said that she didn't know she wanted to be a director until she read the book of the Virgin
Oh,
Suicides, and
I
then
can
she
see
was like,
that.
well, I need to direct this. I need to make this into a movie, which is very interesting.
And it does, it makes sense to me after now knowing like more of her filmography. Like it very much epitomizes the Sofia Coppola sort of style of very like, very, I don't know the correct color term, the very pale, like sort of washed out color scheme and lighting, and like very like haunting girlhood. Whoa.
Burked.
Damn it. Girlhood. But it's very much like, it's just crazy how her aesthetic is really, and this is not meant to be a bad way, really one thing. Really like, I mean, she knows her fucking style, and she really went with it for the last 20 years, Like, I think of even Priscilla, which is her most recent directorial movie. But so, like, Priscilla, like, I think, like, if you were to show me those two movies side by side, or like not tell me who directed them, I'd be like, oh, those are both by the same director. Like, I think they both look very similar.
Yeah, which I think is cool.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just like, it's interesting. I do wonder, like, if it has its like negatives associated, like, is there growth? Does there need to be growth? I don't know, but like,
I think, I don't know, that's a good question. I really loved Priscilla, and like I had no question about my rating of Priscilla. But I think that was more like thematically. I just loved the notion of someone writing a movie from Priscilla's perspective and showing Elvis for the abuser he is.
One other adaptation.
Yeah, another adaptation. I've also seen Lost in Translation. I'm not a big fan of that movie.
That one was original.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like it's very interesting. It's interesting. I love a woman who writes about what it's like to be a woman.
Yeah.
Lost in Translation, I feel like was kind of a womp womp for me. Have you seen it?
I've not.
Oh, just because I feel like it is so not Sofia Coppola in those themes of
Mm.
like gender and what it's like to be a young woman, because it's basically just about Scarlett Johansson as like she's literally supposed to be 20, and then Bill Murray, and then they like develop a friendship. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it,
Okay.
but there is a choice in that movie that I really hate. I don't know
Ooh.
if people listening or watching will know what I'm talking about, but it's at the end and I don't like it. I think it changes the whole movie in a bad way in what I'm talking about.
Well, this reminds, without having seen Lost in Translation, I have a feeling I won't like it. Just
Mm.
because, based off what I've seen of Sofia Coppola, I kind of have the same feeling after watching every one of her movies, including Priscilla, where I'm like, it's a very pretty film.
Mm.
But to me, there's nothing that sticks with me afterwards. There's no meat. Or like it stops before the meat is there. Like Priscilla in particular, I was mad that it ended right when it got interesting, in my opinion.
Mm.
Because it ended right when her like single life began. And I was like,
Yeah.
that to me is like, I want to see that. I want to see her away from Elvis. And like, same with the Virgin Suicides. I was like, I don't feel anything about this movie, but maybe the difference between like the intentions is like maybe I'm not supposed to, because of how it's framed through the perspective of these boys and how they perceive the girls,
Yeah.
and how they do kind of like how it's like they're objectified and like they're not real people to them, and they don't have like an emotional attachment to them. So I'm like, maybe that's the point, is like I'm supposed to feel the way those boys felt about those girls.
Yeah.
In which case, hats off.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was the intention.
No, I think that's so smart. And I think that that's what I struggled with the Virgin Suicides, is I feel like it was trying to say so much, but it was being so vague about it that I'm like,
Yeah.
it's one of those movie adaptations where the whole time I was watching it, I was like, I feel like there's context that I'm missing
Mm-hmm.
that's supposed to make me understand exactly what is happening and what she's trying to say with this movie, that I feel like maybe the book answers. But then when I tried looking it up, I felt like I found no information on like what the actual themes of the movie are.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Like it felt like something was like missing, which did feel intentional, but it was so vague to the point where it's not even like a conversation I can have
Mm-hmm.
after watching it. It's just like a empty like.
Yeah. And also briefly, I want to say, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, I just want to give, obviously it's about virgins committing suicide.
Yeah.
But it follows these 5 daughters, the Lisbon daughters, and like growing up in a very religious, like strict household. And these like boys in the neighborhood who like, they're so fascinated by these girls and everyone's entranced by these girls, sort of vibe. And then one of them kills herself. And then by the end of the movie, like the last thing is like they all kill themselves simultaneously. They've been like put on lockdown basically. And so they
Yeah.
decide, I guess, to kill themselves in a myriad of ways.
Yeah, which is another thing. It's so interesting because I've heard people talk about this movie just in its title, and
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, it's a claim. But I had no idea what it was about. And so like it is kind of silly, but I had no idea what the like vibe of this movie was going to be going into it. And I didn't know what it was actually about, which is silly because the title is what it's about.
Yeah.
And like right at the beginning of the movie, like literally, I
Yeah, they're
think the
like
first
Cecilia was the
line,
first to go or
yeah,
something.
like it is implied all of the 5 daughters kill themselves, which is another thing that I personally struggle with. I don't like when suicide is just being used as a plot device, and I think, I don't know, it's just a whole thing.
But isn't though the suicide the plot?
Yeah, but that to me is like it's not. I think that when suicide is portrayed in media, like for example, so when we were in high school, 13 Reasons Why came out.
Yeah.
That show is so fucking dumb because the plot is also about a girl committing suicide.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it's handled is so gross to me because when it came out, they like have a full scene where she showed herself killing herself, which is incredibly dangerous, especially for a show that's for teenagers because copycat suicide is like such a real thing.
Yeah.
So for me, watching the virgin suicides, and then again, you see how someone attempts to kill themselves, then you like kind of like, I have a problem with that just because I don't know. I feel like it's not, I don't know. It's not about like suicide prevention, and so it's just
Mm-hmm.
being used for another thing that feels like it's about girls who have a suicide pact with each other.
I see what
You
you mean.
know what
Like, you
I
don't like
mean?
how it's like glamorized and like made like an
Exactly.
aesthetic.
Like it's not real or authentic. Like
Yeah.
it's over the top and like overly dramatic for effect, but not in like in a thoughtful way when it comes to like actually suicide.
So, in like, would you then just prefer like movies to have no depictions of suicide?
Well, not to be a theater kid, but I love Dear Evan
I
Hansen.
knew exactly that's where you were gonna go with that. Waiting through the window.
We're gonna get copyrighted
Oh
again
no!
with your
Fuck!
beautiful rendition. But waving or waving through a window. Dear Evan Hansen is really smart because obviously it's about someone who commits suicide, but it's also about like finding joy in life
Mm.
and persevering, and they don't ever say how Mike Feist's character, bringing it back to Challengers.
Oh, does he play
He plays
Evan
the guy.
Hansen?
No, he plays Dear Evan Hansen.
Oh, right, it's to himself. He plays
Yeah.
the guy who died.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. They never say how he killed himself. They just say that he did.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so these are people who are writing about suicide who actually have put thought into what it means to write about suicide and what
Mhm.
this means for the audience. I mean, I feel like art is art. Do what you want. But like, I don't know, just seeing like 4 girls killing themselves in various different ways.
But here's the
and
thing,
like,
though. I feel like we didn't. I feel like in terms of this movie, it was actually very like we didn't directly see any of them kill themselves. We saw the after effects. We saw that there was that one scene with like the fence, which was obviously like we saw that. We didn't see her jump, but we saw her like on it. But like when they at the end, we saw them like dead.
And then they describe it. They
They did
verbally
describe it,
say
but it was very, I thought, like exposition-y, where it was not like, because there's obviously a world where she could have shown like them dying or something. So I didn't feel like it was so mishandled in that way. But I mean, I do think there's some thing to be explored with like if a filmmaker wants to explore suicide and it's not someone like conquering it.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I just think my problem, I feel like I'm not being very articulate because it kind of feels very hollow to me, just the whole story of the virgin suicides. And I feel like Sofia Coppola is trying to like say something about just anything, but it does feel like kind of nepo babyish of like just really touching on the surface of it, but not really like going any deeper, where I'm like leaving watching it being like, oh, I have a new take on life. I'm looking at different things a certain way. I just was more confused. To me, because it felt more hollow, ending it like, again, it's called the virgin suicides, but it just felt like it felt more just for effect rather than for a reason.
And I wonder how much of that is more critique of just the book.
Potentially,
Because,
yeah.
you know, it's like, if that's, I don't know how true her adaptation is, again, because I didn't read it.
Yeah.
But if it's really accurate, then, you know, but there's still a way a filmmaker handles it.
Definitely, 100%, for sure. I just feel like, I don't know. I think that it does kind of glamorize it, and because it's like, which again, to your point of like, it's from these guys' perspective of romanticizing these girls and like romanticizing their like trauma and like them being trapped up and like them just laying on the bed and looking all pretty while they're like
Yeah.
really struggling. It does also kind of like put suicide in this like, oh, it's just like
But I
this
also wonder if that,
dreamy
again,
like
I don't know, but I wonder if that's also the point of like these boys are the ones who are like if it's all through the lens of that, where it's like this, and also with I think she was probably trying to hammer that home with like the news truck that kept
mhm.
coming by, of like they're the ones glamorizing it, and like even, the watcher, you don't know the ins and outs of the story, sort of like you don't know them.
Yeah. We talked about something season 1 that was kind of similar. I don't remember what it was. Maybe you will. Where like regardless of intention, I do feel like the way this movie is perceived now
Mhm.
is very much through that kind of like, which it's not, I don't think was intentional, but like kind of through this male gaze where like girls are like, oh my god, Sofia Coppola, like cute little like pink bows,
Yeah, it's
aesthetic,
very like
like
girlified.
yeah, where like I feel
Girlhood.
like people really love this movie because it's like not because of the themes, but because of the aesthetic.
And I also like the opening line. Not the opening line, but like maybe the first line spoken by a character in the movie, I think is that line that I'd seen. I don't know if you'd seen it before. Pretty sure I'd seen it like on Tumblr, and I'm sure it did fucking numbers on Tumblr.
Mm.
Or I've definitely seen it where it's like the doctor, after the Cecilia's first attempt, when she's in the hospital, the doctor comes up and is like, "Now, why are you like? What would make you want to do this thing? What could be so
Yeah.
hard?" And she's like, "Clearly, doctor, you've never been a 13-year-old girl."
Yeah.
And I was just like, eh, that line is, I've seen it, so many times.
Yeah. Yeah, so like that's just where I struggle with it. I don't know. But I do think that like going off of that, like I really did like the cinematography, I liked
Mm-hmm.
how it was shot. I loved all like the weird little things that she did of like flash forwarding to Trip as an adult,
That
like
was
in
so interesting.
rehab.
Talking like into a documentary, though.
Yeah. I loved the little shot of like when they're about to go to homecoming and then it like shows her underwear with the word Trip
Yeah,
on
there was a
it.
very cute style to that.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is what I feel like people are always like, "Ugh, I love being a film girly, like Sofia Coppola, like pink sparkles, blah blah
Yeah.
blah." But it's not actually about what she's trying to say,
Yeah.
which
Well,
I
that's the
don't
thing.
know what she's
Also,
trying to
like
say.
even like I think about like how involved like the production design, and like I love like they're all of Sofia Coppola's movies, like her characters have such lived in homes and bedrooms, and like there's such details, and
Yeah.
like even in this one, like the girls' bedrooms had such specific, interesting, like very lived in, decor and stuff, and like little notes and blah blah blah. Um, and I'm like more interested in that than I am necessarily in the film. I'm like,
Yeah.
that always to me is like that's what excites me about a Sofia Coppola movie, is like what cool decor is gonna be in here.
Yeah, that's so fair.
Like I don't think here's the thing. When I go to a Sofia Coppola movie, I know I'm not gonna leave with a new question, with a new perspective, with a new like I'm just gonna leave with like, man, what a pretty lamp.
But I don't think that's true of Priscilla.
I feel that way about Priscilla.
But maybe because you're like you're cool. Like I
Oh.
think that Priscilla being released a year after Elvis is
Oh.
very powerful.
But to me, like, I don't view it in that lens of like releasing it after Elvis. I'm just talking like as a movie.
I still think as a movie to see Elvis, regardless of the movie
Yeah.
Elvis, like to see Elvis as an abuser and to like have it be in the female perspective
Yeah.
of this like cultural phenomenon, it like to me I walked out of the movie theater and I was like that's cool. Like I feel like
Yeah. I guess though, like, I didn't feel that way because I don't credit Sofia Coppola for that. It's not like, because I guess like obviously she signed on to do the project and stuff, and she was like, I'm gonna bring it to the screen.
yeah.
But like that's a memoir that's been out for decades.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I credit Priscilla for that. I did really like, this is like Kirsten Dunst and Sofia Coppola's like first actor director relationship
Yeah.
together.
That's fun.
I know, because they
I
went on
saw
to do so many
Marie
things.
Antoinette when I was, like, really young,
Hmm.
so I don't really remember it, but again, girly pop.
It's very girly pop. It's very, like, same thing of, like, that same sort of, like, style, but more, like, flipping it's on its head.
Mm.
Um, it's not meant to be, like, historical in any way. It's meant to be, like,
No.
fun.
Yeah.
I remember, though, like, I had the same thing about Marie Antoinette. I, like, barely remember it almost.
That's kinda just, like, her vibe. It's, like, dreamy,
But
like
simultaneously boring. I was a little
Yeah.
bored during this.
I watched it between 2 days because I started it one night, and the first half of the movie did really bore me because
Yeah.
I feel like not a lot actually happens
Yeah.
throughout. When the trip but then watched it the second day and all the trip stuff. I will say that to me was the most powerful
That was so
moment.
interesting. I think the plot finally picked up when we get to
Yeah.
Trip and Lux's relationship and, like,
Yeah.
the stuff around that.
That was, like, the one time that I actually really felt something was when she woke up in the football field and he was
Mhm.
gone, just because I feel like that's so fucking real. Like,
Yeah.
that's really, like,
And but also
girlhood.
because after we had heard him say, like, "I loved her so much," like,
Isn't
in
that
the
how it
future.
always is?
Yeah. He's like, "Man, like, she really got me." And then he gets her and he ditches.
Ah, after he has sex with her?
Can we talk about his wig?
Does he have sex with her?
Yeah, I think that was
Okay.
implied. I mean, I think we saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I didn't know because it's the virgin
Misleading
suicide.
title.
I
The
know.
Virgin Suicide to minus how one.
Yeah. Anyway, what were you saying?
Fucking Josh Hartnett's wig. It literally looked so hairsprayed. It looked like it would move as one. Like
Yeah.
I could lift it off of his head like a hat.
Which works for the era. Another 70s movie.
I guess, but I was like, that's a wig, baby.
That's a
Like, why not
wig.
just have him grow out his hair? I mean, I'd be shocked to learn if they were like, that was his hair. Then why did you hairspray it so much? It didn't move.
I didn't really I wasn't very cognizant of it. Other than I
Ha-
think there in during homecoming, I was like, damn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a wig. I do wish, like, I did love, like, those, like, style of homecoming dances. Like, I wish I'd been able to go to one of those. Like,
Mm.
those look fun, where it's, like, those
Yeah.
decorations and, like, the little live band versus, like, I mean, my prom was lame.
I hated my prom.
But I want, like,
Anyway.
you know, that, like, a slow dance to, like, a
Oh.
sweet song.
Yeah, that was also one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Was like how happy they all were. I
Yeah.
was like, "Aw."
I
And then
think, too, I mean, I wonder why I feel like it's not a statement, excuse me, Sofia Coppola really makes about the religious aspect of this family.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's just because she was raised in a little Catholic household. Maybe that was Francis Ford Coppola's contribution as producer was saying, nope, you cannot critique the Catholics.
Mm.
Because it was clearly like a very rigid,
Yeah.
strict household. And I feel like, though, the way it's framed in the movie, it's more like they died or they killed themselves because they were like, so, I mean, obviously he was tied to like being locked down, but it was more like because nobody sees us for who we are.
Yeah.
It was not tied to like, I'm trapped in my parents' house.
Yeah, that's so true. The one yeah, like off of that when the mom makes Lux throw away her records and like burn her records, like again, it's the Sofia Coppola effect where like to me I was like, "Oh, I feel like in my intellectual mind, I'm like, oh, this has to do with religion, like blah, blah, blah."
Yeah.
But the way it happened, it just kind of felt like she was just making more of a historical, like back in the day, Christian people didn't like their teenagers listening
Yeah.
to rock and roll.
She was
and
like,
blah blah
and
blah.
look, she was listening to Aerosmith.
Like it still felt like a little empty. Like I didn't
Yeah.
actually feel like she actually was like addressing, but it definitely was present, which maybe is cool that things are just present and they don't need to be actually like hammered in.
True.
But I'm still confused.
Yeah, I just don't know. It's definitely not going to be something I like, not a favorite, not a movie.
I think as a director, I'm very intrigued by this movie
Mm-hmm.
and like inspired by it in terms of just like being able to make weird creative choices
Mm-hmm.
and like not have things be so like I love a movie that's not so cookie cutter, and I don't think this
Yeah.
movie is cookie cutter. But just other than that, I don't know how to, like, feel about it.
And that's the thing too is, like, and this is I don't know, like, the opinions of all directors, but I feel like most directors will say, like, when they're filming a movie and you're watching it, the whole point, like, you're not even thinking it's a movie that was directed. It's just like it's happening, you know?
Mm.
And I feel like Sofia Coppola does not do that well. I feel like I feel her directing every time I
Yeah.
watch a movie of hers. I'm like, I don't know why. I don't know how to nail it down, whether it's just like it feels curated in some sense.
Mm.
I don't know, because I'm just like, or it's just like her name attached to it and how that's the main selling point, and like the
Mm.
style that she has, where it's just like, I mean, the like the biggest part of it is that she's the director.
Yeah.
Like the movie's remembered for her as being the director and like her directorial debut. I don't think it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't
She's
know.
so stamped in it, which isn't bad again, but like I definitely just feel her directing her movies.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for a directorial debut, I think this was really good. Again, I feel like it's like I wish I had read the book because I do feel like so much of it I don't think is Sofia Coppola's fault for me not
Yeah,
liking.
that's fair.
Because I do really like the cinematography. I like the production design. I thought the acting was really great. And
Yeah.
I felt like I did sense her presence as a director in she just seems like a very like action oriented director of like
Mhm.
characters doing random different things throughout a scene and like being very specific with like
Yeah.
how characters move and like where they're like you know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, and to be clear, I did not dislike the directing style of this movie, and I also thought it was a great, like, I thought it was greatly directed, but I just like
Yeah.
every movie of hers, I just feel her presence so strongly.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm still figuring out if that's good or bad. I guess it depends on the film,
Yeah.
but just my thought on that.
I'd prefer that over like a commercial movie where it just feels like anyone could have directed it
Mhm.
personally. But I think it's an interesting thing to think
Mm,
about.
the point of this podcast.
Oh.
Thinking.
Thinking. Ooh. Well, shall
I'm
we
trying to think. Let me make sure I have nothing else to say. I remember writing down, man, I love the house that they're in.
Yeah.
That like stairway was so pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, I did say there's a calmness about her movies, which can lead to boredom. There's not any real tension or high energy.
Yeah, for
Said that.
sure.
And I said it seems very obvious why they killed themselves, at least like in the movie. Like, but the boys are like, why?
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, like the way the boys were so easily played and manipulated. Like I said, the way Lux uses her sexuality and no man picks up on why she's using it are just like, wow, she's a whore.
Yeah.
Because she's definitely like the lead.
Yeah, for sure.
And she definitely was like, the whore. And all the boys were like, look, she's got another guy. And like, she's on the roof again. And it's like the shot they're seeing is like her crying.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Which really summed up. I was like, okay, yeah, that's girlhood.
That
You
is
got me, Sofia
girlhood.
Coppola.
Would you like to go first
Oh,
with your
okay.
manic?
My manic. Well, I've been menstruating.
Oh,
That's my manic.
talk about girlhood.
I am in pain.
Oh,
Yeah, that sucks. Maybe you should go first.
okay. So my manic, I feel like I was just stressed this week because I just feel like both of my part-time jobs are usually pretty chill.
Mm-hmm.
And then they both ended up being really busy this week. So like I am technically working like 40 hours a week, but it doesn't really feel as crazy because it's pretty chill. But it was not chill. It felt like I was working a full-time job, but like to the max.
Mm-hmm.
That was not fun. And then on top of that, I was just like stressed about money. I had a rough like career week where I was just like, and I'm so stressed that I feel like I'm not writing and I'm not like submitting myself on Actors Access. And I was like, I'm never gonna get out of this hell, which I'm still kind of in. I'm just like,
Yeah, again, it just seems like I think I've said this before, maybe even, where it feels like, the myth of Sisyphus,
Mm.
where he was like punished, push up that
Mhm.
rock every day, and
Mhm.
then it would roll down, and then he'd push it back up. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what it's like to be where we are now, where it's like,
Yeah.
we're writing. Oh my God, let's competition. And it's another. Okay. Okay, finish the
Yes.
script. Writing another one in case that one does better on a competition. And it still didn't do well. Okay, trying to write a book. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I did.
No, literally, because it feels like I'm, like, off this high of, like, a project that I was working months on, and now I'm just back, and it
Yeah.
feels like the stone ball is even
It's
bigger.
at the bottom.
It's heavier, and it's
It's
at the
retreated.
bottom, and I'm having a harder time pushing it up.
Yeah. Getting heavier. That's so
Yeah.
fair.
So that was
Especially
my
like,
manic.
okay, I'll say my manic though is like then watching through my job people get signed
Yeah.
who are in similar stages, similar age. Even like when I hear about a book selling, just like, and like obviously everyone has such different journeys and everyone's at different places in their journeys. But like we obviously like in our companies and emails like, oh my God, like this our client's book just sold for like a 7-figure deal. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that. I
Yeah.
don't want to see that. I would like
Yeah.
not to hear about that.
No, that's actually really hard because I feel like the one thing that keeps me going, which I don't know, this isn't bitter, but it's just like I I it, I have such talented friends, and so it makes me feel better that like all of us are at the same place
Yeah.
right
Well, I
now.
think the thing to take from that is that like it's not us. It's
Yeah.
the industry.
Yeah.
It's the way it's created
Yeah.
and gate kept.
Yeah, and obviously I wish all my friends the most success
I wish friend of
ever.
many success.
Yeah. I just know that like this feeling would be so much worse if my friends were
And it was like
at a
just you
different place than
behind.
me and I felt like it was just me
Yeah.
behind. So like to have to like in your job see people making it is not doesn't sound fun.
It's been actually really hard. Right. I sound like I'm about to cry. I just had a little cough. It's been really hard. No, just battling jealousy. Because for me that's all it is.
Mm,
It's just jealousy. And I'm not
yeah.
in therapy to combat this, so it's just me fighting the good fight myself.
So brave.
But it's just like I just have to figure it out because like throughout my whole career there'll be other people who are doing stuff. Even when I'm at the height of success, there will be somebody who has an amazing idea that I'll be like, fuck, that's a great movie. Will I ever be as good as that? Like I think it's gonna be a perpetual thing. I think that's just what it
Yeah.
means to be a human. And hopefully I can get to the point where I'm just like confident in knowing like myself and like being cognizant of that, reiterating to myself, okay, everyone's journey's different. Everyone starts from a different place.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So just gotta keep track of my jealousy because I don't want to be like an embittered old woman who's like a young person, like that like
Ugh,
very the
yeah.
trope of like the aging starlet. I don't want to
Yeah.
be like in Sunset Boulevard. I don't want to be her.
And you won't. You will not. I see your future. I am Yarmila. We
Yarmila.
need to just like try to bring her up every episode.
Okay, done.
Done.
Check for today.
Anywho,
Pixie.
Pixie.
You're like, last week you were like, nothing makes me happy. This week you're like, nothing makes me happy.
I think my Pixie is again, it was a rough week, okay,
Yeah.
you guys. I think that I was able yesterday I had a really nice night. We went out.
We did have a fun night. We
We
went
had
out
a
till like
fun
4 in
out.
the morning.
Yeah. And so I feel like, again, having community, being with my friends.
Yeah.
You know what? Yesterday I went to my brother's show. He does like this monthly show with his friend who's a stand-up comedian and my brother's a musician. And so they do this like talk show every week. It's live. They bring in different stand-up comics to do sets. And that did make me feel like very happy career-wise just because I was like there's always opportunity to be making your own work and to like
Yeah.
be doing something that like brings so much joy to other people and to yourselves. Like it's always possible to like make things happen. You know what I mean?
Which is also like, I think that's crazy. Like as soon as you do get signed or whatever, it instantly becomes, how can we get you everywhere and making the most money? Which obviously,
Mm.
like, most, like, that'd be great. Love that. But then I think it also does, like, you lose sight of that a little bit of, like, why you're doing it, you know, and, like,
Mhm.
what you've, fought for to do versus, like, let's just make sure I'm on every single newspaper and, like, I have empires. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't necessarily dream about that.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, when we're watching those people and they're killing, and I'm like, where are the managers? Like, I'm looking at
Yeah.
these people. Hopefully, some of them are signed or something. But then I'm thinking, there are so many talented people, and just like, they're also not being discovered,
Yeah.
Same thing.
It's so interesting. But they're still out there making us laugh,
Yeah.
even without managers, potentially. So that's a
Our true
thought.
heroes.
Oh, I thought you also did this.
Nope.
I got excited.
We just switched.
That should be your thumbnail.
Okay. Which one? Me doing this? You doing that? Wait, we're saluting the virgin suicides?
That's kind of funny.
It is kind of funny, actually. Okay, we'll keep it. This is the context of
Yeah.
yeah.
Anywho.
My picks. Did you say? Oh yeah, the show. My pixie is finish my book, guys. I'll stop talking about it for at
Woo!
least another few weeks, and then so I immediately am pivoting to my other things because if I stop working, do I have value? um,
Just watch you have like a mental break a little bit.
Oh, but I'm actually really excited about both of them because I'm working on like a super dark short, and then I'm working on like a really goofy comedy.
That's fun.
And I'm really excited about both. It's just like, it's fun when you're feeling like creative and like it's easy and like it's flowing. The idea is like, you got all this stuff there, you just need to work it out
Yeah.
versus like making something work. So
I love that for you. That's
feeling
the
good.
best.
Feeling good.
That's really the best
I
feeling.
have an arsenal to show people, like bam, 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 bam.
You are like the hardest working writer I feel like I know.
And that's probably because I don't do anything else.
God bless.
I need hobbies. I actually just made a list. I was like, I forgot that people have hobbies and I'd like to start doing them. Although they cost money, so I can't yet.
But we do our hobbies for a living. Well,
no, I mean,
we
like,
don't
I would like
for-
to start playing tennis more.
That's fair.
I can't do that in New York because you have to pay for every fucking part of playing tennis. And, like, I'd love to learn how to play guitar and, like, learn Italian.
That'd
But,
be
like,
cool.
I need to make money to do those things.
Yeah.
And to make money, I need to write.
Yeah.
That's, like, my thing has always been, like, I need to get out of here. I need to make money. I need to, like, I want to live with my family. Like, I need to do these things. And if the way through that is writing, then I will not stop.
Yeah. I think that's amazing.
Thanks. I'm low-key, like, becoming, like, Whiplash, though. Like, the movie.
Oh.
Where
but
it's like,
you are also
if I were to
J.K.
get a boyfriend, I'd be
Simmons.
like, you're distracting me from my writing. You know what I mean? Like,
That's
it's getting
fair,
to that
yeah.
point of like, I think I would murder. Mic drop. No, but I'm getting to that point where I'm just like, am I in a Whiplash-esque movie? Like, is this going to be like, I'm banging the drum? I've never seen Whiplash.
I mean,
But
you're
I
not
know-
wrong.
Yeah, I know.
What is happening in my
Are you crying now?
You're not
I know the
wrong.
plot of Whiplash without having seen it. So I just didn't know if he played a drum, though. Does he play drums?
That is the whole movie.
Okay. I didn't know if it was a different
Drum.
instrument.
No, yeah. It's a
I think
drum.
I might
It's
the
a drum.
sax. Obsessed with
I
perfecting
just
the
love that
sax.
you were like, in Whiplash, like, he bangs the drum. I think. I haven't seen the movie. And it's like, that is actually the whole
movie.
plot is him banging a drum.
Banging the drum. Yeah. Okay, I don't know if it was like the trombone.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
But I do feel like I'm reaching that point where I'm just like, I hear the jazz music, the frenetic jazz music of like, I gotta be perfect. You know?
That's really fair. I gotta feel that drum because right now I just feel like J.K. Simmons is like,
He's just yelling
Mariah!
at you.
Mariah! And I'm like, ah! Like, I'm not doing anything about it. I'm
And,
just
maybe
yelling
there's
at
a
him.
marked difference between us. What could it be? One of us is single.
Oh, I truly mind blank. It's like, what?
No,
What is
I'm
the
not at all
difference
implying
between
that.
us?
I will say though, you probably have less like, because when I'm with like friends, obviously I'm not writing. So
Yeah, I mean, it helps that he's also really busy.
yeah.
I've just been playing a lot of The Sims, honestly. I'm not gonna
Ooh.
lie. Like, this is on me.
It's on-
And, like, it's not like The Sims is really giving me joy right now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, I can't wait until this child is a teenager. That'll be more fun. And then he becomes a teenager, and I'm like,
Still not fulfilling you.
Yeah.
Well, you're not a groomer.
I'm not a groomer?
Yeah, because he's not fulfilling you.
Oh, yay. Although I did make my sim groom someone. It's another story.
Is it a story? You need to keep that in there.
Anywho. With that final note.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Farewell. I'm excited. Next week we're watching Adaptation, which is this not directed by Sofia Coppola's ex? We didn't even plan this.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, wait, whoa.
And the movie Her is about Sofia Coppola that he directed.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So next week we're watching Adaptation.
Adaptation, Charlie Kaufman wrote. You know what? It's so interesting. I feel like you never are like, when you say a movie, you never just say who the screenwriter is. But Charlie Kaufman just like, when it's a Charlie Kaufman movie. Adaptation is fully written by Charlie Kaufman because it is about Charlie Kaufman.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. This movie is crazy. Any screenwriter out there, you gotta see this movie.
I'm excited for a little meta.
Yeah, it's the weirdest movie ever.
Yeah.
I love it. And I also don't like it, which we'll talk about.
Oh, fun.
But I think that's the point.
And we just talked about an adaptation today.
Meryl Streep, Nicolas Cage.
Oh my God, a Coppola. Dude, they run everything.
That's crazy. I didn't think about that, but it's true.
Yeah. Kathleen Turner, Peggy Sue Got Married. That's how she met Sofia Coppola. Kathleen Turner plays the mom in Virgin Suicide.
Oh.
Sofia Coppola played her daughter or sister in that movie. And Nicolas Cage plays Kathleen Turner's husband.
Oh. More you know.
It's the 6 degrees of the Coppola family.
Anywho. We'll see you next week to watch Adaptation.
Ooh.
I'm very excited. I think we'll have a lot to discuss.
Thrilled.
Goodbye.
Fuck!